With the Sylvanas novel, we just got a ton of brand new information. We learned how and when Sylvanas joined the jailer. Spoiler, it was during Legion, not Frat. We learned that Arthas essentially messed up Zovaal's plans and was really a thorn in his side. And we learned a bunch more about Zovaal, his plans, and prophecies. All of this is info from the latest just released Sylvanas novel, which uncovers quite a few mysteries we had in regards to this entire Shadowlands storyline. So what is all this new information? You must have wiped out a million times in your WoW years, but you probably didn't have Squad OV with you. And this is an app that records your instances automatically, and you can see your complete performance from spell visualizations to def recaps, and best of all, it is free. You don't have to do anything but install it, and you can share yours and watch your friend's perspective. So use my link in the description and check out Squad OV. The Sylvanas novel was just released, although keep in mind by the time I'm writing this video, it isn't really out yet, so this is based on the leaks of the people that got the book early, but so far it seems highly credible. Honestly, with the way the entire story is, they had about zero expectations, and while I didn't personally read the whole book, I gotta say I was pleasantly surprised with this new information, as the storyline starts to make at least a little bit more sense. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves, it is without a doubt still a mess. It doesn't really save the Shadowlands, but it isn't as bad as we previously thought. So let's get to the actual info. Pretty much, the entire book is about Sylvanas' perspective, which is obvious by the title, talks about her childhood, relationships, Arthas, meeting with Zovaal, and ends up with her in the mall, searching for Nathanos, which is where we kinda are right now in the actual game. So, to not give you vague hints, let's get to the big hitters, the main question all of us have asked. Why is Sylvanas Windrunner working with the jailer? Well, this bit didn't change all that much. We knew she met him for the first time after her suicide after the defeat of Arthas. However, this was now heavily expanded upon. Essentially, Zovaal sent the Valkyrs to take her to the various afterlives of the Shadowlands and to show her how the entirety of the Shadowlands is just completely unfair, and as he manipulated Sylvanas and pretty much had half of her soul, he knew the exact weak points which to push. Sylvanas was already mentally broken at this stage as Arthas forced her to kill her own people and just commit a whole bunch of terrible atrocities. There is even a scene where she yearns to rejoin the High Elves, but as she overhears them talking about the terrible things she did as an undead, it got her to create her own Forsaken, just stick with them, and abandon the idea of ever trying to rejoin the High Elven, or now the Blood Elven society. However, the biggest weak point for her was her younger brother and her parents. Her biggest wish was that she could meet him in the afterlife, seeing how much she had actually suffered just defending her own kingdom. Yet the jailer showed her that will never ever happen. She will be split away from them for all eternity, and that really rubbed her the wrong way. The Valkyr take her to various afterlives and show her that the Arbiter, the robot, is actually not that great of a mechanism that lacks empathy. It doesn't really have the sophistication to understand the various mortal cultures, laws, and traditions, and instead just shuffles them away to afterlives based on a pattern, a program that leads to a lot of loved ones being split away from ever. Now, this bit here is a bit vague. It isn't certain how true this fact actually is. It is highly likely the jailer, as the manipulator he is, that this was an attempt to sway her, so he kinda cherry-picked the right examples to show her this injustice that is the afterlife, while it is possible that this was actually a very small percentage of the actual big picture and that a lot of loved ones spend a lot of time together. However, personally, I gotta say, from what we have seen with our own eyes, it isn't really all that far away from the truth. I mean, I always wonder, why are we even actually saving the Shadowlands? For example, Draka died together with Durotan protecting their child, yet they weren't sent to spend an eternity together, but she was sent to Maldraxxus to spend her existence with abominations, plague, and undead because she was warlike in life. Just doesn't really make all that much sense. On top of this, we have the brainwashing and the memory erasing and passion, so I can't really say the jailer was completely in the wrong here. There is just too much actual info on this point. However, this is the actual main argument Zovaal uses to entice Sylvanas to join him. He does this mainly to present himself as an ally and shows her that if she helps him, he can undo this and she will see her loved ones again. Now, why Sylvanas thought this guy was really giving her the truth is beyond me, I gotta say. However, the most interesting part is that she doesn't actually join him at the end of Wrath of the Lich King as we had previously thought. Instead, Sylvanas is told a prophecy of 5 major things that will happen in the near future. First is that the Burning Legion will return. Second is that she will step out of the shadow and lead. Third is that a sword will pierce the world. Fourth is that she will hold the blood of the world and see its power. And the last, fifth, is that she will shatter the roof of the world. Now, from what I personally understood, she only joins absolutely near the end, but seems to sort of help the jailer on a small scale before that actually happens. For example, it is revealed that she enslaved Ayer back in Legion in order to direct souls from the halls of Valor to the Maw, but at this point she isn't a complete ally of the jailer. However, when the sword pierces Azeroth and she actually sees Azerite pouring, she fully signs up and joins Team Zovaal just absolutely. Then, the Dreadlord Mal'Ganis appears and instructs her to accomplish her most important mission, and that is to start a massive war and send as many souls to power up the jailer so that she can break the prison of the afterlife. Interestingly enough, initially it was revealed that her plan was actually to completely destroy Stormwind, but as that failed, she instead does the entire burning of Teldrassil as Sylvanas destroys the capital of the Night Elves, Doronsmovies. At this point, she is just tunnel vision on the plan and no longer cares about earthly mortals and is just about saving everyone from this unjust afterlife, which is the meaning of the entire sentence, this world is a prison. From this point, you kinda already know what happens. However, we get actually big reveals in regards to Arthas and Anduin. A lot of the book is about Arthas, as he obviously played a critical role in her storyline, as it was him that turned her into a banshee and really doomed her to this fate. So naturally, immediately, she asked the jailer in their first meeting about Arthas, and he kinda spills the beans in order to gain her trust. Zovaal tells her that he did indeed create Frostmourne and the Helm and he was responsible for the Lich King, but he actually gave that to the Legion, but then Arthas just showed up out of nowhere and took it for his own personal gain. His servant, Zovaal, was supposed to overtake Arthas in his mind as he became the Lich King, but instead, as opposed to Zoval's plans, Arthas won and then just completely screwed over the jailer and his Lich King project and just started expanding and grabbing power for himself and just for himself. This in itself is a huge amount of new information. First off, it shows why he tortured Zovaal so much. Essentially, he failed him and caused him to lose control over the Lich King for years, and with Arthas involved, he really did a number in on his plans, which is why Zovaal had to turn to Sylvanas and to just get rid of the Lich King. Even more importantly, it shows us that Arthas was not actually a pawn of the jailer, and instead he opposed him, which is exactly why Zovaal had to manipulate his way to actually get his soul within the Maw, and why he utterly destroyed it, as he must have been really pissed off at the insolence of this human prince. It still isn't certain what Arthas intended to do, but I'm guessing he wanted to consolidate Azeroth so that he can overcome both the jailer and the Burning Legion, which, while noble, wasn't really good news for any of us, living beings. Now, on to the next bit of information, and that is in regards to Anduin. It is, as we knew it, Anduin just completely saw through Sylvanas' BS and mental gymnastics, and the domination of Anduin really hit Sylvanas and forced her to abandon Zovaal. In the entire book, Sylvanas is in constant sorrow about her brother that she could not save against the Orc invasion all those years back, and she saw her brother through Anduin, which led to the events we can see in 9.1, which ultimately got her to abandon this entire grand mission. From what we have seen, the book ends after the judgment of Sylvanas, which you probably already seen at this point, and it is about her searching for her love Nathanos in the Maw. Personally, I was pleasantly surprised with this new information, even though it didn't really change up the story all that much, although I do have to admit it revealed some things and it made the story a bit more consistent than we previously thought, and it also answered a few of the mysteries we had. However, it still doesn't make sense why Sylvanas, when she visited the Maw, didn't realize that the jailer is literally torturing souls for all eternity there, so how how in any way could this guy be planning to just get loved ones to reunite with each other. It just seems overly ridiculous. I gotta say, this bit is definitely just beyond me. I really don't understand it. However, I'm glad that not everyone was just a complete pawn of Zovaal, mainly with the case of Arthas and his resistance, and I would actually want more depth on what Arthas exactly planned to do, what was his end goal, and what would have happened if he didn't manage to defeat the Lich King. Thank you for watching. Check out why the next expansion may not be directly related by clicking on the screen, and check out Arthas Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.